Today I'm sharing my top 4 things to do when you're recently engaged. I got married recently and was planning our whole wedding, and I've worked in the wedding industry for years, so hopefully these tips will be helpful for you if you're newly engaged and beginning wedding planning. So, number 1, soak in the engaged feeling, the newly engaged bliss, the excitement, soak it all in. It'll go by really fast, and a lot of the time you will be wedding planning and talking to vendors, and it'll just feel kind of crazy. So soak in those moments right in the beginning. Once you've done that, you can create a vision for your wedding. So this is a great time to start going on Pinterest and making wedding boards and just looking at ideas and getting a vision of what you want. Some examples of this are creating a mood board of the colors and the feel of what you want for your wedding day. So this can look like light and airy versus dark and moody, like browns, whites, neutral colors, bright, bold colors, boho theme versus elegant, timeless theme. Once you have that all set out and you have a picture of what you're envisioning, that'll help when you start looking at your venue and looking for vendors down the road. And keep in mind that this can change whenever. Just because you like the idea of a blush pink color palette doesn't mean that you can't change it to a different color at any time. Those are just helpful in the first steps to create a vision and be able to get that across when you start talking to vendors. Number 2 is to start setting priorities in the vendor category. So, as I'm sure you've found out by this time, weddings are really expensive and you have to prioritize what's most important to you on your wedding day, besides actually getting married. So when you're setting priorities, I set 3 for our wedding. So my top 3 were photography, because I'm a wedding photographer, obviously, and then number 2 was ceremony decor, just because I knew that was going to be in all of our photos and those were going to be some of the most special photos for us, and that was also the first impression of our guests when they arrive, is what the ceremony looks like. So I wanted that to be really special and really just exactly how I wanted it. So that was my second priority, and my third priority was flowers. Flowers are in all of your photos throughout the day. From your bride and groom portraits to your ceremony photos to your bridal party photos, most all of them are going to have flowers in them. So that was really important to me, and my florist was able to completely take my vision to life, which was really important to me too. Okay, and number 3 is to, after you've set your priorities with vendors and categories of things that are most important to you, then set your budget. So a lot of times you'll hear to set your budget first, and I don't think that's as useful, just because then you're kind of splitting up your whole budget into small little sections, where if your flowers, for example, are most important to you, then you have half of the flower budget than you want, just so that you can get a mediocre venue, a mediocre florist, a mediocre photographer, that kind of thing. So setting the things that are most important to you will allow you to splurge on those categories and save money for those important things with the rest of your budget. Take time setting your budget and look through those categories that were super special and prioritized for you, and just look at their websites, look through their starting prices, just to get an estimate of how much those vendors cost, just so you're not going blindly and setting a budget that's unrealistic for the type of vendor that you're looking at. It's really difficult to set a budget for a photographer, for example, if you've never had a wedding and never had a wedding photographer. So you don't know how much wedding photographers cost, what the average is. So once you begin looking at photographers within that vision that you set for yourself, you'll be able to get a range of what to expect, where to set your budget at for those vendors. Number 4 is probably the one you've been waiting for and what most people do first. So number 4 is setting your wedding date and finding your venue. Usually this looks like going to talk to your venue and then choosing a date that they have available. But if your venue isn't one of your top priorities, talk to your prioritized vendors first and give them just a date range of a month or a season. Ask them what they have available within that range, and then go from there with finding a venue that coordinates with that, because you'll probably be able to find a date that works well for your prioritized vendors and for the venue you want. If your new bride and this video is helpful for you, leave a comment below and let me know, and subscribe for more content in wedding planning, photography, and just my life behind the scenes. Thanks so much for watching.